Welcome to our pre-departure briefing. This is for your upcoming Antarctica expedition with HX, and it is my pleasure to turn it over to Tudor Morgan, who will take us through our briefing. Thank you, Tudor. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Lee, and welcome everyone. Welcome to HX and this webinar to prepare you for Antarctica. We have a lot of information to get through today, but I would like to just introduce my co-hosts who will be sharing the information with you. But just before that, my name's Tudor Morgan. I'm part of the operations team looking after sustainability, guest learning and industry relations. I'm based in the UK, but currently in the west coast of the USA. So it's morning here, but so from me, it's morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's going to be great to see you on board. I'll just hand over to Karen to introduce herself, please.
Thank you very much, Tudor. Hello, everyone. I'm Karen, and as you can see on the stream, on the screen, I do development. I've been expedition leader for many years, and would take you through some of the activities that we're doing while you are on board. So welcome to the webinar. And then I think I'll just let the over to Verena.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Tudor. So I'm Verena Meraldi, Chief Scientist. So of course, I will be talking to you about all the science-related topics that you will experience while on board our ships. Welcome to the webinar.
Brilliant. Thank you, Verena and Karen. And in way of structure today, to prepare you for your trip, we've done the introduction. I'll do an introduction to Antarctica, then we'll go through the activities, the nature and science, some what to pack and practical information. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions pre this webinar. We've had over 100 questions. We've taken those into account and we will try and answer those through the webinar. If we don't, then please do ask more questions, as Lee said. And also at the end of the webinar, we're joined by Jessie and Olga in our team, who will take the question and answer session at the end. So we'll try and get through as much as we can in the way of what you've asked. And obviously we'll pick up things at the end. Okay, to get started, of course, you're coming with us. So the trips, depending which ship you're on, acknowledging that we're operating 3 ships, which I will introduce later, be leaving for our destinations, going via Santiago or Buenos Aires, down to Punta Arenas and Ushuaia. So from there, a flight down, and then crossing the Drake Passage down to the Antarctic Peninsula. Obviously, we do have a number of different sailings, and we're covering all of those start of the season sailings in this. So depending on those trips, then there may be an element of the South Georgia and also the Falkland Islands. But the majority of what we'll be talking about today is, of course, the Antarctic element. But we do note that there are those different choices at the start of the season when you are sailing. The frozen continent of Antarctica is this unique environment surrounded by the southern continent that really gives you that experience of wilderness, remoteness, but also life on the edge. So it is something that I think all of us here talking in this webinar have been to many, many times, and still gets us that sense of excitement every time we go. So it's really a trip that will be with you forever. And really our aim is to give you that experience of not just the destination, but to really give you insight information. At the end of this webinar, we will also ask you for feedback on this webinar, so we can continually improve and make things better. And that's one of the things we strive to do at HX. So I mentioned our 3 vessels that are operating in Antarctica, Roald Amundsen and Fridtjof Nansen, sister ships built in 2019, 2020, hybrid vessels, state-of-the-art expedition ships. And as I say, the mother of our fleet, MS Fram, which we all love, a bit older, smaller, but she does the trips to the Falklands and South Georgia and down to the Antarctic Peninsula. So longer trips, sort of the pinnacle of, I think, of Antarctic expedition, but the perfect platform for you to see Antarctica. And I'm sure you've booked on, so you know where you're going. So it's pointless me going on about that. One of the big questions we get is the Drake Passage. We call it. It can be the Drake Lake, as in the picture on the right, flat calm. It can be the Drake Shake, the picture on the left. Of course, we don't know what that will be like until we do that, but our navigators, our captain and team do constantly look at the forecasts. They do look at the best routing. So often on our trips, we don't go on a straight line across the Drake Passage. We go to make it as comfortable as possible. All our ships are fitted with stabilizers to take some of the rocking and rolling away, but so to make you as comfortable as possible. We do recommend, if you do suffer from seasickness, to take those, but we'll cover that in a later section. So we don't know what the Drake's going to be like, but we make it as comfortable as possible. And our ships, being bigger and spacious, do provide a comfortable platform. And I think all of us in this call have done it a lot, and we're still here. But it's part of the experience. It's also in that time going across the Drake, we use that very wisely in terms of preparing you for Antarctica, and both Verena and Karen will talk a little bit about that as we go through the webinar. As from the start of October, we start our all new, all-inclusive benefits. So everything that you need for the voyage is included. So part of that, so the day-to-day drinks, breakfast, meals. So there's all set up, ready for you to go, Wi-Fi at no extra cost. So you don't have to dip your hand in your pocket, but there are some extras that you can do if you like when you're there. But again, Karen will talk about those when we get to the onboard activities. On board Nansen and Armiton, we have 3 dining options. And on Fram, we have the 2. We don't have a Fredheim on Fram, but this gives you the opportunity and the options to choose what you want in terms of how you eat and drink. So very much up to you when you're on board. Because you're going at the start of the season, then the light is another question we had. In the early season, then we do get a bit of darkness. You can see we get a sunset where you can get incredible lights like the picture behind here, through to in December when we do get almost 24-hour daylight. So we're traveling in the land of the midnight sun. So there'll be lots of light, and it does, coming from the northern hemisphere, if you are, then it is that big change from the northern winter to the southern summer. So just be prepared for that light, but it also gives lots of time and opportunity for seeing the amazing wildlife and landscapes. I'm going to hand over to Karen now.
And you can flip a slide too, Tudor. So what are you going to do when you are on you cross the Drake Passage? You earned the right to be in Antarctica, because it's a little bit what the old explorers had to do. They also had to earn their right to be there, and the Drake Passage is kind of that passage you cross, and you feel that you've earned the right. So when you come there, we have a range of activities that we will offer. At the base activities will be all included. And just to get it out of the way right away, you do not have to be super fit to be able to do a voyage like this down to Antarctica. We do require that you are able to get in and out of a Zodiac, and the pace on land is your own. So when you have been briefed shoreside for our landings, if we can move a little bit to the next slide, Tudor, then it's up to you. And we have an expedition team that will cater for you shoreside. They will also be on board. It ranges from 15 to 25, depending on what ship you're on. And they are your guides for your voyage, both on board and on land. But on land, they will show you, they will set up flag paths, they will make sure that you are comfortable when you're doing zodiac cruising. And what we pride ourselves in is to be a multicultural and international team, both among guests and among our team. So we have a range of different disciplines or expertise, from marine biologists, ornithologists, and environmental scientists to historians and also photographers. So there are birds and whales and rocks are being covered. And Tudor used to be a rock man. He was trained in geology. So, I mean, and I learned a lot from him and the others. And I have to say, not being a trained geologist, I look at rocks and mountains in a whole different way after these guys and people have been teaching me how to look at rocks and what history they bring. So you are in for a treat with our teams on board. And then we also have activity guides that are experts on the more specialized activities like kayaking, snowshoeing, and camping. So the landings, that is what we call going ashore. I know that for everybody that's not self-explanatory, but it just means that we take our workhorses, the Zodiacs, and we land on beach, we land on rock, we land on different, even on ice and snow, to take you shoreside in this environment. And all of this has been trained, specialized. We are really experts in doing it to make sure that you have that great experience shoreside. Then on board, simultaneously with you being shoreside, because we have a limit of 100 people ashore, this is regulations, we will be taking turns in going ashore. And in the meantime, you will having science and educations and lectures, and Verena is going to talk more about that. So I'm going to move quite fast forward to the kayaking and hiking. So there will be multiple activities going on at the same time. And this is something that we pride ourselves in being quite good at. So the kayaking will be going on at the same time. There will be a limited amount of people. This is one of the optional excursions that comes with a price. We have a few places in Antarctica where we can go hiking. It's not many. There are a couple of opportunities in South Georgia. There is a couple of opportunities in the Falklands, and there is maybe one in Antarctica around Deception Island. Apart from that, this is ice and glacier. So a bit of hiking we can do, but we actually try to do more snowshoeing because that's a lot easier when you're walking on snow and glacier. So meaning our hiking in Antarctica is really more the snowshoeing, and we have a limited amount that we can take based on regulations and opportunity to have a number of people ashore. So that will also be an optional opportunity for an activity. But the landings and the small boat cruising that we don't have a picture of her, but which is equally important. The landing and the cruising is where we show you the area we're in from both land side and from the seaside, because the ice landscape that you are going to see also have life. And it's also really, really nice to do a Zodiac cruise amongst ice in the areas where we land. So I can't say how wonderful it is to be able to see from both sides. Polar plunge, absolutely something for, and Tudor is laughing, absolutely something for you who want to brave it and have a nice certificate with you home. It is actually quite fun. We've all done it. So it's one of those things we hear at the dinner the night before, where people are saying, "Are you doing it? Are you doing it?" And then they kind of either wage or they kind of beat up each other in order to do it. So in the end, we have quite a few people doing it just because they've been psyching each other up to do it. On-deck guiding is one of the most important activities we do because we're going to sail through some incredible passages, bays, passages where on-deck guiding is important, because you might see a seal on an ice floe as we pass by. You might see an interesting rock that an environmental scientist would like to tell you about. There is so much that is important to interpret as we go. And then we have the camping, which is maybe the most elusive of all the activities that we have on our little menu here. It's a limited amount of people, but it is great to be able to do that. So if that is something that you really want to do, then put yourself on the list, and then just fingers crossed that you are the one that are being chosen to go camping. We have some of the best equipment in the industry, and we have spent years perfecting this. So from the very beginning, actually, you're looking at two of the people who did the very, very first camping in Antarctica. Verena and I were staying in the same tent when we tested it out more than 13 years ago. Fun it was, right, Verena? So I'm gonna let it over to you now.
I'll just add in terms of the optional extras. Then, of course, as Karen said, they are charged. And they will be bookable on board, and the prices will be shared in the pre-voyage information. But we're just to make sure we get the 100% right prices, we'll share those in the pre information, which I will cover when that comes later in the webinar. But I'll hand over to Verena now. Thank you for that on the activities, Karen, and Verena on the nature and science.
Thank you, Tudor. Can you, there you go. Next slide. So you will be surrounded by natural wonders when you come down to Antarctica. You will incredible icebergs, incredible landscapes, abundant wildlife from penguins to whales. Above and below the ocean surface, you will see teeming life. This is really going to be like nothing else you've experienced, and our teams will help you to make the most of this experience. In terms of what you will experience on board, our science and education program will offer you an immersive learning opportunity. We offer our ships as research platforms to scientists who will join us for specific trips, and they will be collecting data or observations, sometimes even with your help if the project allows. So we will have guest scientists of most of our departures in Antarctica. We have a very well-equipped science center as well, where you will be able to participate in a number of activities, and you will have also the opportunity to join our science boat. During the science boat, we collect oceanographic data and water samples to study in the science center later when you come back on board. But we also collect data for specific research projects. So you help us collect the data that we will then send to the labs for further analysis. And we participate in several citizen science projects that you can also be a part of. The science boat is an activity you can sign up for when on board. Our expert on board will take you out on a small boat, and as I mentioned before, we will collect plankton, take the temperature of the water, read the profile of the water column, also measure how much the salinity of the water, and so on and so on. And once back in the science center, you will have the opportunity to look at your samples through the microscopes and identify the plankton species that you collected. Last season, we had researchers from many research institutions. Some of them are listed here on this slide. We contributed, or we allocated more than 1,600 cruise nights to over 80 researchers last season. And this season, all of these same collaborators have confirmed that they will join us. So you will be exposed to real research being done during your trip to Antarctica. I also mentioned citizen science projects. We support a number of these, and you can contribute by participating in the sessions that will be led by our experts on board. This collection of QR codes will provide you information about the projects or guide you to the apps that you can download so that you are ready when you are on board. We do have internet on board, but it's not always reliable. So please, if you want to participate in the citizen science projects, go ahead and download all these applications so that you are not frustrated because they will not download while on board. So you are more than ready to do so. Yes. Next. Regarding the life on board, everything that happens throughout the trip will be informed to you during the briefings, and information about the landings, the cruisings, and the safety. All of that information will be provided to you in the daily program, including the deck guiding and wildlife spotting sessions and their timings, and the timings for the lecture program and the activities in the Science Center. So be sure to check the daily program regularly. And of course, anything you can that you experience will be guided by our experts on board. And with that, I hand it over back to you, Tudor.
Thank you, Verena. And as you can see, when you're on board or off the ship doing activities, you have the potential to be kept very busy. But these you can do. It's up to you how much you do or whether you want to do it all. But as Verena said, every evening there's a briefing for the next day to prepare you. We always have we call it Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, depending on the conditions. And we aim to get the ship with the captain and the expedition leader working together, the ship in the right place at the right time to be able to get the best experience for you. But please don't be overwhelmed by all these activities. You choose, and you will be guided and handheld on board by the expedition team through these and through the daily program. So plenty of opportunity for you to really get the best out of your trip, whether it's through your camera, through the science. And one of the feedback we get from people is, if only we'd known that all this was going on, but now we are telling you, and there's lots. And again, part of this process is giving you this information now, but there will be more information coming. Karen, you unmuted. I don't know if you wanted to talk before I go on.
No, I just unmuted so I was ready. So go on.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things, just to make you aware of, and I'm sure you're all aware, that avian influenza, or highly pathogenic avian influenza, has been going through the world for the last 3 years. This has had an effect on bird populations and also mammal populations. As part of our protection of Antarctica, then our teams will do on-site assessments before we do any activities. And so our plans may have to change if there are signs of avian influenza. As part of that, and as part of protection of Antarctica, biosecurity is really important to help stop spreading avian flu, but also any other non-native species. So we do intensive cleaning programs between different zones and between landings. Part of that is to make, in terms of cleaning, we don't allow any sitting when we go ashore, because it's very hard to clean your backside and disinfect it. But also our boots are really important. So we will supply you expedition boots. These are neoprene boots. They're waterproof. They're warm and they're comfortable and a snug fit. We have a range of sizes from small to extra big. So they will have to be used on all landings. And when we come on and off the ship, we go through a biocide and a big scrubbing session. But we will go through that with you on board. But needless to say, the boots, you will have boots provided, and biosecurity is a very important part. And if there are signs of avian influenza, then we will change our plans accordingly. And I'll hand over to Verena for this one.
Excellent, thank you. So you must be wondering what you will pack for use on board. The dress code is relaxed, it's casual, even at dinner. So if you want to bring a very nice dress or a jacket, please do so, but you are not required to. We suggest you bring comfortable flat shoes for on board, but make sure that they have a good grip, since as the surface on deck may be slippery. Don't forget your sunglasses, polarized preferably, and with UV filter, which brings me to sunblock and lip salve is one of the most important things to pack. Camera and extra batteries and memory cards as well, a small waterproof backpack, adapters. The outlets on board are European type C plugs. You don't forget your swimwear and sandals if you want to do, like Karin said, the polar plunge, but also take advantage of the pools and hot tubs on board the ship. You will want to have a swimwear, gym wear if you want to also keep in shape after the many delicious dinners on the restaurant. But the most important gadget that you may want to pack are your pair of binoculars. They are very important if you want to make the most of your experience already when on deck watches, wildlife watches. You will want to have a good pair of binoculars.
And what's just to field off the question, people ask, what is the perfect pair of binoculars in terms of range and size?
Well, for bird watching, magnifications 8 times and 10 times are the best ones that will allow you to track birds and will not give you eye fatigue. And when it comes to objective sizes, the best ones fall between 32 and 42 centimeters. So to put it simple in numbers, 8 times 32 or 8 times 42 would be the best option. But if you already have a pair, you feel comfortable at home, then bring that one. And yeah, but
brilliant.
8 times 32.
We ask any expedition team member, we say, what should you not forget to bring? And everybody will say binoculars. Oh, and 99%. Yeah. Karen, what do we need for activities?
Yeah, so for the activities, now we're talking like real clothing here. So the first 3, actually the first 4 symbols are what is part of the outer layer. So we call it the layering system. So you are always prepared for wind and sleet and rain or whatever it comes. So we will supply you with a very nice jacket that has a very high waterproof protection, and underneath there have either a woolen jumper or a jacket. I would not recommend fleece because it's plastic and we don't like plastic. So we like natural fibers also because they are better. They keep you warmer. But a puff jacket or a thin puff jacket underneath would also be good, because the jacket we're going to give you does not give any insulation. It's more shell jacket. but what we do want you to be paying attention to is the waterproof pants, because when you're going to go into these boats, we will not cancel landings unless the weather is in a sense that it's not safe. So that means that spray as you're sitting in an open boat might occur. So therefore, have a waterproof pair of pants. And some people have been asking if their ski pants will be good enough, and I would say they are good enough on land. But if it's if you will be wet, they are water resistant but not waterproof. So that means that you could get a bit moist using your ski pants. But I would go for an easy waterproof pant to go on land in. The underlayer, that your base layer, should be a long thermal underwear and top, preferably in wool, because that is the fabric that will keep you warm, but it will also be able to absorb if you get sweaty, and it will not make you cold because it doesn't stay on your skin. The fabric wool will absorb it. So this is from this trio here, this is hard-earned lessons that we are sharing with you here now. And then the obvious one is the next three: hats, scarves, waterproof gloves, and socks. One thing with the boots, those muck boots, or those boots that we are supplying, they have a very good insulation ability. So you do not need two pair of socks into those. You need one good pair of warm socks into those boots, and they will do the rest of the job. Ski goggles, if you like. I would say ski goggles is actually quite nice if you're doing zodiac cruising and there is a bit of precipitation. Also because it then protects you can actually see while the boat is going in 8, 10, 12 knots speed. So for that purpose, ski goggles are quite fine. On land, I would say that Verena's tip on sunglasses are the best. All right, I hope you're ready to dress for Antarctica. Tudor?
Yeah, Les, and also if you do forget something, then of course we do on board our vessels. We do have a boutique or a shop with expedition clothing. Yeah. So if you do forget something, there is potential to top up and buy on board. So
we are well stocked.
We're well stocked and ready for the places we go. So
even with binoculars.
Even we have some binoculars.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So yeah, and also, I mean, one of the things I like to do is take a couple of different hats, and also maybe a cap to keep sun off my face. A bit of variety. But yeah, fantastic. Right, on to some practical information. As in terms of preparing to go on our vessels, we want to make sure that everybody is fit to sail or fit to go on the trip. So as part of that and our self-sufficiency, we ask for everyone has to do a medical screening. This is a two-part process. One is a self-assessment, and then it's backed up with a medical practitioner, your doctor. We're very much aware that in some countries, it's very hard. In the UK, the national health system won't give you a medical. So we've worked with our medical partner, VCAND, where they will do a online assessment for you, which can be booked. So that can be done 90 days before, or from 90 days before up to, we like that to 30 days before. So just to show that you are fit to travel. And that's a kind of an easy process, but we kind of try and take the strain out of that by doing that with VCAND. And that is that's priced the same as if a medical worldwide. We also want you to make sure that you have travel insurance for Antarctica. So please check that your insurance covers that. If you do want to bring seasickness tablets, then please do that, but they are also available on board. Those that travel a lot know that unfortunately airlines are quite busy these days, and they quite often their baggage doesn't arrive on the same flight as you do. So if you do have medication, then please make sure that you bring your medication in your hand luggage, so to make sure you get that, because specialist medications can be hard to find. So just to make sure you have those. 1 month before, around 1 month before, you will receive all this information that we've given you now in written format. But to receive this information, we need to have your travel insurance and your medical form, and you need to be paid up and ready to go. You will be sent a link to this portal, which will give your travel documentation, but also lots of this information repeated. So you'll be ready to go with that. So to get this, and if there are any questions, then please do reach out to our agents. But the medical form and to be paid up, and then this gets your final documents ready to go. In terms of preparation, and if you may like to read some information, there are, as you all know, thousands of books on Antarctica, but this is some recommended reading that we have chosen to prepare you. These are sort of generic books. Well, the first three are. The Storied Ice is an overview of all Antarctic history, real snippets and really great information. The Antarctic Wildlife book by James Lowen really sort of is an up-to-date wildlife guide that really has great reference material as well as the pictures. And the Whales, Dolphins and Porpoises also covers a lot of the cetaceans that you may see in the Chilean fjords and Falkland Islands area. And of course, one of the books, which is a great read, Endurance by Lansing, is a sort of put together of the endurance story in a biographical format, but it's a great way of presenting that. So that sort of prepares you. So these are some we recommend, but of course, as I said, there are thousands of books on Antarctica that all capture our minds. Also, if you sign up to our loyalty program, we have some great benefits if you're into that type of thing and like that. Some of those include priority pass and lounge access, giving you some money off those. Photo printing, Helly Hansen online shop, and sunglasses. So if you're interested in that, then please do look at our website listed here, travelhx.com loyalty. And then also on board our ships, we also have a loyalty manager that will be able to, if you're interested, then you can discuss further trips and benefits on board when you're on board with them. So some opportunities there. These are the contact details. Again, I think a screenshot of this will be shared in the chat on this. But if you do have further questions, then please do follow up on those. We wanted to make sure that we had time in this webinar, so to give you questions and be able to answer. So we've tried to cover as much as we can and those informations, but we're going to hand over to our colleague Jesse now, who's going to lead us through the questions and answers, may put them back to us or may just answer himself. So I'll stop sharing screen now, and then we'll be able to see Jesse on screen as well. I've got to press the right button. There we go.
Hello, everyone. All right, so we've got a lot of good questions. We have a lot of questions, actually. We've been busy. But there are some general themes, so we haven't been able to answer every single one of them, but I think I can cover a lot of folks' concerns by going over some of the topics that are most prevalent. We'll start with medical. We did talk about the medical forms. Some folks are curious about the medical center on board. And every ship has a medical center with at least one doctor and one nurse. And seasickness along with that. That was covered a little bit. Talk to your doctors about medication for that. Make sure you've got the right one for you. Wristbands, so many people swear by them. I was even skeptical myself until my last voyage, and that was all I had. And that definitely makes a difference. But also rest. If you're on a sea day, if you're not feeling it, you're not the only one. A lot of crew will be feeling the same way as well, along with a lot of your fellow passengers. So don't worry about that. It's your rite of passage. Then there's, yes, Tudor.
On that, Jesse, that quite often, and the same for me and probably Karen and Verena, we really understand that people travel a long way. They're tired. They join the ship, and the first couple of days, it just takes a bit of getting used to, but you really quickly get used to life on the ship. So, don't stress after the first few days.
No.
As you say, rest up. It's really good advice.
Very good.
Yes. A lot of questions about luggage today. So for the charter flights between either Ushuaia and Buenos Aires or Punta Arenas and Santiago, it is one carry-on, 23 kilograms. I'm sorry, one checked bag, 23 kilograms, one carry-on, 8 kilograms, and one personal item per person. Now, if your flight arriving there, if you have business class and you're allowed to bring more luggage, please don't plan on doing that until you've reached out to us directly. We need to check with our carrier to see if there is space for you. There's no guarantee, but we're more than happy to reach out and find out if it's possible, if there will be space. But plan on just bringing the one checked bag. And then laundry. Everybody's worried about laundry. We have a next day laundry service on board. Everything is charged by the piece, but that is also included for our suite guests. And if I can get Oliver we'll pop a price list into the chat for you as well. And now I think I'll go over some questions for our presenters to talk about. First question, several people have asked, is will we be visiting the post office?
Port Lockroy.
Depending on, well, I can start and maybe Karen, you take over. Depending on the itinerary, then on some of the trips we will aim to visit the post office or at least offer a postcard service to send from Antarctica. Visiting Port Lockroy or Penguin Post Office, as it is known, can be, there are more restrictions visiting that site. So we don't guarantee going there, but we definitely will aim to do a postcard service from on every trip for all our guests.
We normally do get on board the team that is at Port Lockroy to hold a lecture and also offer a few souvenirs and the postal service, as Tudor said, when we are there with any of our ships. And with avian flu being quite predominant at the moment, there has been restrictions for everybody, that there's been no one being because the island is really, really small, and being able to keep the distance to the wildlife is really hard. So if that's going to be the case again this year, that's up to the Heritage Trust and their management of the island. So as of now, we have not got any change of rules compared to last year, where we did not do it or go ashore. So any ship that came, they came on board and they brought souvenirs and did the postal service.
Fantastic. Next question. Now, I know you already touched on this, and I apologize. I was very busy answering other questions. So if you already covered it, again, I apologize. But polar plunge, where, when, and what sort of temperatures to expect?
Okay.
Take all the fun out of it for them.
No. Where it is the best, we find a good location depending on weather, and plan A, plan B, plan C. And so you will be notified in the pre-landing briefing the day before whether we plan to do a polar plunge, because there are designated places where we can do this. So and it's not just one, there are several. So either one, we will inform you. And temperatures in Celsius between -1 to +1. So it's around 32 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, cold.
Cold.
That's why it's called a plunge, not a swim. I think that's
Yeah, because it's
In and
only
out.
the
In and out.
In and out.
in and out. Yeah. And you get a very nice certificate.
Yeah.
And you get also the admiration from your fellow.
it's one of the rites of passage, which I think you kind of, it's very popular for people.
It
Yes,
is.
it is.
And
Yeah.
and we bring towels ashore. We are very well prepared. The doctor is there. Heart starter is there. All of it is there.
And it is more like a walk-in.
Yeah, walk in.
Walk in. Yeah.
Okay. If a guest already has a Hurtigrute jacket or their own jacket they would prefer to use, do we have something in place for that? Is there a way to trade in an old jacket for new, or donate something if you don't need the new jacket?
There is an opportunity there is a combination. You get a gift certificate for parts of it, and then portion of it goes to the foundation. So that's if you choose away the jacket in itself. So it's a two-tier system.
Someone did not want to use a Hurtigruten jacket or an
more
HX
than welcome.
jacket.
Yeah,
Are there specifications for the jacket they need to be aware of, such as high vis?
No, not in Antarctica. That's we have some rules and regulations in the north, but not in the south.
Okay.
So they can wear whatever jacket they want.
Fantastic.
And just on that one, Jesse, of course, guests can choose to wear their own jacket, but from October, so these voyages, then we will have a new design of guest jacket.
Yes.
So
I really like it. I'm looking forward to it.
It will be different. So I'm not going to spoil what it's going to look like, but it's coming from a recycled material and will be delivered to at the start of the season. So there will be new guest jackets.
And it has the color, which is sort of more in the blue that we're having.
Don't spoil it.
Well, they haven't seen it, so still quite mysterious.
Yeah.
Okay, moving away from clothing, for activities like hiking or snowshoeing, how strenuous are they?
For the hiking, as we do, the hiking, you need to be in relatively okay shape. We're not talking Olympic medalist here. We're talking normal shape for anyone. But if we do hiking, for example, in South Georgia, the ship leaves us and stuff like that. So it means that you need to be prepared to be able to handle 6.5 kilometers. So for hiking and snowshoeing, I would say in relatively okay shape. Moderate level, yes, exactly.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, and here's a really good question. Will there be are there Shackleton related sites that we visit?
It really depends on the sailing. On the Fram sailings, then yes. Because we're going to South Georgia. On the Nansen sailings, no. And the Armington sailings, if we go into Weddell Sea, maybe.
Yeah.
So in terms of specific sites, then definite Fram, and maybe on Armington.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
saying
I
that,
can't read my writing.
I was going to say that the history and the heritage of the whole Antarctic Peninsula from different expeditions is fascinating, and that hence the recommendation of the book Storied Ice, which gives the précis of lots of different expeditions. So of course, the Shackleton expedition is super well known and an incredible story, but there's multiple stories from different expeditions, whether it be the Gerlach, Charcot, etc., etc. So yeah, lots to look at in terms of heritage.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Could you describe how well the internet works while you're there? What it might be good for?
Shall I take that one? So we've switched across to Starlink in recent years. So the connectivity is a lot better than it ever used to be. It still is satellite. It's fine for messaging and sending messages back and forth, some social media. It's okay to be able to, I would say okay, it's not necessarily great. It does drop out occasionally to have a voice call with friends and family back home. It's not any good for streaming YouTube or other videos. So in terms of connectivity, it's great to keep in touch, put it that way, and read the news, etc., but not for streaming videos or anything like that.
Yeah, or for attending meetings via Zoom or Teams, it
can drop out.
Yeah, it can drop out.
Look upon it as a little bit of an involuntarily digital detox.
Yeah,
I really like that. I love the fact that I'm not super available when we're there, even for work. Be in the moment. Be in the moment.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, one last question. So kayaking is going to be different, say, from Galapagos to Antarctica. What sort of differences might there be? Is it more hazardous to do it in Antarctica?
No, it's not more hazardous. No, there were quite a bit waves going on in the Galapagos, at least. Verena, when you and I did it.
What about from a capsizing perspective?
Nah, because what we are doing is that you are kayaking in a dry suit. You are also not having a spray skirt on your cockpit, so it means that you're sitting in a relatively open cockpit. If you fall in the water, the worst thing is that you actually are bobbing around there for a couple of minutes before you are picked up. So and we don't kayak unless the weather is good enough and that we know that the weather forecast is showing that it's going to stay calm for the period of time we plan to do kayaking. And I can tell you that almost everyone, or a lot of our guests, more than 90% of our guests that do kayaking, have actually never stepped their foot in a kayak before. So we have very, very good guides, and this is something that we pride ourselves with our kayak program, that we have a very, very well-educated kayak guides and professional guides that are with you in addition to safety boats and everything. So it's a very, very fun experience to be kayaking and not hearing any engine sounds, but just you and the water and the paddle.
You and the ice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so that is all the questions we have time for today. Thank you all very much. Thank you everyone at home as well. And before I hand this back over to Lee to take us out, I would like to mention to everyone at home that after this webinar ends, there is a survey, a very short, easy survey. We would very much appreciate it if you could fill that out for us. So thank you very much. And over to you, Lee.
I'll just, before we jump to Lee, I'll just say, from us presenting, and I will say, but thank you very much. Obviously, there's a lot of information. We have had a lot of questions, which will hopefully answer some information here, but also in the documents you will get. The wildlife, you will see, you'll have an incredible voyage, the destination, the landscapes, the wildlife, seeing, we can't guarantee anything, but we know we will see penguins, we know we will see whales, in terms of wildlife and incredible landscape. So we will, the experience is incredible. So we very much look forward to seeing you on board, whether it's one of us on board with you or the rest of our team. we will do the best we can for you. And in the meantime, our shoreside team will be able to answer further questions and get that medical done and that final thing, and then the final information packet with the detailed information to help you pack and prepare. But no, thank you very much. Yeah.
Enjoy your trip and welcome on board in advance.
Yeah.
See you down south.
Over to Lee. Sorry, we jumped in.
No, that's great. I'm so glad you did. I hope you can see all the the emojis, the claps and the hearts and the thumbs up. Everyone has had a great time, and this has just been wonderful. So we thank you all so much for giving us some of your time today, and to our panel as well. So with that, we will wish you all a wonderful day and conclude our webinar. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.